Welcome back to another Album Book Club EP review. This week we are checking out Good God by Rio Romeo. This was suggested to us by the Upstart Crows. Yeah, ready to get into it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Alrighty, that was track 1, Inarticulation. What do you think?
I'm going to give it a 6. I thought about 6. A 6.25 because I almost gave it.
I'm going to give it a 5.5.
To clarify, I almost gave it a 6.5, not a 5.
Glaringly obvious problem. It is not recorded very well. The piano part, at least. The vocals are fine. I think it's just a cheap mic. But the piano, whatever mic is on there, cannot handle all sides of the piano. And so you get a really pingy high end, a really fine, good sounding middle, and then a really harsh low end. And then there's some MIDI or synth tracks on top of all that are mixed clean and clear. So they're just fighting the whole time. The vocals are getting drowned out. Other than that, I think it's like a fun kind of cabaret ditty style. Just a good kind of old-timey song. But it's something's just not clicking with the synths and the real piano. They're not working together. They're fighting quite harshly.
I think I locked on to the vocals too much, and they were good throughout the whole thing. I don't think I caught all the piano things, but I caught a little bit of it. There's some things going on in the background, but I think for this one I just wanted more things happening, because there's like the occasional bell and the strings that kind of lift up behind the piano, but I think I just would have wanted a little bit more.
All right, ready for the next one?
Next track.
I
don't know if I care for the low vocals.
See how it works because it's out of tune now because there's movement?
Yeah.
All right, that was track 2, Bet. What do you think?
I'm going to give it a 6 because I'm trying not to be mean. That sounds worse than it is.
I think I will also give it a 6.
I think the mix on... I thought it was the vocals, but it's going to end up being the piano being too loud, was enough for me to give it a lower score on its own, but I don't think it's bad enough that it deserves that score. I don't know. The vocals are still good. I just can't hear them as much. And the end of this song fixes my problem from the last song where it wasn't doing enough and needed more. It shows that with just a little bit extra, she can have what the first track needed.
I think ultimately this is a pretty good song for what it is. It just comes down to just some of the recording problems. The piano mix, is too high. The vocals could use a touch of reverb. And then the piano is out of time, presumably either on purpose or just like it wasn't a problem with the recording. And that is true. You can record out of time or out of tune piano and it sound very good. And it did at the end of this when there was some movement there. But there's a lot of just kind of chords where, you know, the high is really out of tune and the low is relatively in tune. And it just is fighting. It helps with the vocals because when you're doing this raw, like passionate, emotional performance, there's not perfect notes, right? You're slipping in and out, and thus the out-of-tune piano can help that. But typically, that's what the movement does, is so you don't be able. Typically, there's movement there so that you're not focusing on how out of tune this is. So you're not focusing on how out of tune this is. It should, in theory, all be able to live within its own range of like out of tune, but being in tune with itself. And that was just something that was a little jarring. Like I said, the out-of-tune piano, not the problem. Just maybe add some bounce to those chords or kind of like go back and forth between the notes instead of like a full-on launch. And then also at one point there's just a break in the song where she goes for a note and completely cuts out the piano. I think holding the sustain pedal on the piano with that out-of-tuneness while you go up for that high note will ultimately lift it and make it feel a lot more grandiose.
I think you also said it during this song, but putting a little bit of reverb on her voice would also be beneficial.
Oh, yeah. Ready for track 3?
Track 3.
Hey, she put some reverb on. That's a pretty good track, actually. I like this one.
Yeah.
Why wasn't this the start? That was Absence. What do you think?
I'm going to give that a 7.5.
I'm right up there with you. I'll give it a 7.5 as well.
It had as much as I wanted in that song. It fixed the problem from both of the tracks before, of just not having enough. I think the vocals were still tiny bit buried, not as much as Bet, but just a little bit buried. But overall, good track.
Yeah, I think it's a good song. Ultimately, I think the piano needs a compressor, is what I've figured out. The high ends are really pingy, and the low ends are just kind of a little quiet, so bring them in. But that's really all I think it truly needs. Other than that, it's a really good song. It's got good energy, good movement, good.
And they brought in a drum kit.
They did.
It was missing something, and I think that helped.
Oh, yeah. Go on to track 4 here.
Track 4, next track.
Next track.
This is one you've heard before.
I think I know how this was mic'd up, and now I'm real mad. It's mic'd at the hammers. Like up towards the top.
That's what I thought the whole time.
I was assuming it was done overhead center, not mic stand right in the bag. It's fucking evaporating in the dust. Like the little yellow emoji guys. Alright, that was track 4, Nothing's New. What do you think?
I'm going to give it a 6.5.
I think I'm just going to give it a 6.25. I think we're back to the same issues that we had in kind of the first 2 tracks. The vocals could use some more reverb again. I think there's a lot more raw emotional performance here than we've gotten out of the vocals. She does slip out of range just a tiny bit at some points, but it works because you get that crackle. There are some like bells or like a small piano or something extra, like, or both, that is playing in the background that just sounds really, really tinny. And it's just not my favorite sound. But it's a choice. Other than that, it's just a fine song.
I'm going to send a picture of the xylophone that I'm pretty sure they used on this to future editing me. But it works.
Mm-hmm. All right, anything else?
Nah, you said everything I was going to say about the vocals.
Cool. I guess we'll hop into the last track.
Last track.
It's track 5, Twice. What do you think?
I'll give it a 7.
I'll also give it a 7.
This one is similar to the third one in that it sounds like a full song.
There's a lot of like call and response going on, a lot of actual play between the instruments and the singer. And yeah, there's more than just the piano or kind of background fillers for the piano. And it's got a good groove, a good bounce to it. It's a good time. All right. We'll go on to album art. What do you think?
I'm thinking like a 9.
I say, yeah, I'm up there. It's like an 8, 9. It's real good. It fits exactly what the style of this is. I mean, we were talking about is how I just love this style. And it's also just very fitting. So,
like the colors going on in this picture.
Yeah, they're very, very vibrant.
My only issue with it, I think, is that it would work really good as a full album art.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm not going to say wasted on an EP, but kinda.
It's gotta hit real hard with that full album art. Thank you guys for watching. If you made it this far, don't forget to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.